All right, we have here a bunch of body pieces for the Axial EXO Buggy. The process of painting these took about a day. We've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces, all individually done. Well, these two were done together, but most of all the others were done independently. Incidentally, for this very simple interpretation I did of the URC color scheme, it took, it's a 3-color scheme, and it took 9 paints, 9, the number before 10, to pull it off. And if you've seen my basic RC painting videos, you'll know a large part of the reason why so many different paints were needed for something so simple. I did end up using 3 different levels of gloss for the black. So we've got the most flat, most matte here, also the most matte used here, and I've got the most glossy used here. These little pieces in the back, and then the side pods also have the gloss on them. And then this insert for the back with the little faux engine detail and the fuel cell detail, that's in a half, like a satin finish. Whether any of that stuff will be really noticeable once this thing is put together and really driven, I don't know, but it was worth a shot anyway. But just before I start putting all of these things on, I do need to build up a little bit more detail for the rear, for the back of the roll cage. First of all, I'm going to cut this off camera real quick. We've got a radiator. There's actually a suspended radiator detail which will be hung from above right here, and that will also have some fans. And interestingly enough, they actually give us some little fans that you insert into there, and actually have dry brushed some of these parts a little bit. You'll have to forgive me, I have not dry brushed in probably 25 years, so I didn't remember all the proper techniques for it, but I figure something's better than nothing. We've got this, and then this, and then on top of that goes this, and a little shroud. One little self-tapping screw, which is perfect for this spot. And then this gets assembled up in here. It's going to be angled down a little bit, and I'll just screw in from the top. There's also a rear-facing light bar here, which you can actually install LEDs into. It's prepped for it. They do have the mounts for the back that you can clip on, and it'll hold the bulbs individually. They also have lenses that will go over the back side of these, so you can put all of your red LEDs in there. I'm not going to be installing those, so this is just going to kind of snap into place first. So there's just the bar, just a bit of detail, just to add a little bit. It mostly adds the kind of a spoiler sort of look, a kind of rooftop spoiler towards the back. Just looks good like that. Now I'm going to need to start working on these body panels finally and getting them attached. And some of that is going to require a good deal of hole reaming. Cut out some holes, and I've got a, check it out, we've got an actual axial body reamer here that I've had for quite a while. The thing works very well, and it is stayed sharp, but I need to get all these holes prepared to get some screws going through them now. Here goes dash detail, just gets bolted on. Engine pod, it's not quite fitting there. I need to trim out around this post just a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to drop in the driver compartment. All right, that looks pretty good. Man, it's a lot of little holes to ream. It's like 3 dozen. And the thickness of the Lexan is different everywhere. Okay, time to hopefully start attaching body pieces directly to the roll cage. Now there's an interruption for another light bar, and this one you do get lenses for. So even if you don't have your own LEDs to add to this, you can still make a little bit more of a realistic look. I'm putting a little bit of thick CA behind each of these caps because I know that they're going to flex and they're going to want to just pop off and disappear into the field or wherever I'm driving this thing. I wish I had the rubberized stuff. That would definitely be better because these will need to have a little bit of flex in an ideal world, but they do snap over there pretty nicely, but still I'm just certain that they're gonna want to fly away. There's those little guys. I've been holding off attaching my rear shocks. I wanted to do that as close to last as possible, but it doesn't look like I could hold off longer, but it's going to start to get a little bit more difficult to access this area, so I'll just go ahead and finish that off now. There it goes. I couldn't get a good angle on camera to show the screwing in of that screw, but the screw is now screwed in, so that's taken care of. Really should just do this at the point where they say in the instructions. There's that side. Now comes the other side, which is two pieces for the main cowling this time. This is the side with battery access, so this gets mostly attached with just a couple of body pins for this large rear section. The front section gets screwed on. Here goes my light bar. Now that all this is assembled on there, I can finish putting my decals on because I actually know how they will go now. I'm actually happy to see that even though some of these things, like here you've got 1, 2, 3 parts, I was able to actually line up the colors okay, because you cannot physically line them up without cutting them out first, and I didn't want to cut them first. I wanted to paint first, then cut. But it came out okay, so that is going to be the look. I just need to get the rest of the stickers on there. And now I am satisfied for now. Didn't go super crazy with the decals, but just put on enough. At least got the logo on there. And yeah, thank goodness. I'm going to say this on your behalf. Thank goodness for video editing, because this entire process of just assembling the painted parts after cutting them out, you know, between reaming out the holes and then getting it all assembled on there, finishing out the decals, not even to include, like I said, pretty much a full day. I mean, it's spread out, you know, with different steps and a little bit of drying time, but mostly I did augmented drying with a heat gun too. All that is just such a very, 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 very long process. You would have definitely left unsubscribed, probably blocked YouTube from your browser altogether, because it would have been just such a ridiculous experience of horrific, droll, and just long process. I'm glad it is now done. Now I'm actually going to do a separate video just to cover the process of attaching this thing to the chassis, because as you can see, this is all just one big assembly, but there's still a whole other thing, and that's this, and this, and this need to become as one. So that's coming up next.